Good afternoon. I'm Justine Reichman, your host for Essential Ingredients, and today I have Turner Wyatt for the Upcycled Food Association. Welcome, Turner. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks, Justine, for having me. My pleasure to be here.
I am really excited to chat with you to learn more about the association, learn more about what you're doing, and talk all things upcycling. We'd love for you to just intro yourself for our listeners. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm Turner. I'm the CEO of the Upcycled Food Association. I live here in Crested Butte, Colorado, small ski town. So I'm from Denver originally, but I'm now in Crested Butte. It's a little mountain town right in the middle of the Elk Mountains, right in the middle of the state. I live at about 9,000 feet.
Wow, that sounds like a big headache to me, frankly, but that's just because of the altitude.
It's cold, but the altitude doesn't bother me too much. It's beautiful. I wish I could show you the view of the mountains over here out of my window. It's gorgeous, really inspiring.
Beautiful. It sounds beautiful. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I would love to go skiing. I haven't been skiing in years.
Hey, I tell everyone who I talk to, come visit. We'll have a retreat here in Crested Butte, talk about upcycling. Wait. There's no better place.
The last time I went skiing was actually in Aspen, but that was a while ago.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Aspen's right on the other side of the mountain.
Awesome. Okay. Well, let's just get into this for our listeners. I know they're curious about Upcycled Association, the Upcycled Food Association, and just let's connect the dots because we've been talking a lot about upcycling on the podcast. And for those listeners that are familiar with the podcast and have listened, you will be familiar with the Upcycled Food Association because you may remember that we spoke with Daniel from Regrained, who actually is a friend of Turner's, right, Turner? You know Dan.
He's a friend, he's a board member, he's a colleague, yeah.
Exactly. So let's connect the dots for them. How does somebody get involved with the association? What does the association mean for those in the industry? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I think taking Dan and Regrained is a great place to start because they were one of our first co-founding members. And just over a year ago, there was this group of businesses that came together to and kind of realized, hey, we're doing something really special here. If we work together, we can magnify our impact and create something really, really special that's going to change the world. And so each of these businesses has their own creative ways of preventing food waste by identifying a source of waste, a byproduct from either manufacturing or agriculture, and upcycling it, adding value into some other nutritious, high quality product. And so, for example, shout out to Regrained. I have a Regrained bar right down my desk. This is the best part of my job, the samples. So here we have the chocolate coffee super grain plus energy bar from Regrained. They have this product. The other businesses that are doing upcycling have their own products or ingredients. Some of them sell ingredients.
Renewal Mill.
Exactly. And actually Regrained, and about a third of our membership has wholesale ingredients that they sell to other businesses that other businesses use to make their consumer products, or not just food, but cosmetics, all kinds of things. So all these businesses get together and they say, hey, we know that the main thing that's holding us back is consumer education. More consumers need to know that upcycled food is a way for them to enjoy delicious food and also prevent food waste at the same time. Because there's evidence that only a few % of consumers actually know what upcycled products are. But if there were more people who actually knew about what upcycled products were, then the demand is going to automatically go up, because on average, more than half, and this has been done in many studies all around the world, more than half of consumers are going to demand upcycled products once they know what they are.
So we just got to get the word out there. It's all about education.
It's all about consumer education, and no one company, like Dan and here I have another sample.
From
the Valley Fruit Co., great company called AgriCycle, taking fruit that would otherwise go to waste and creating dried fruit products and ingredients for other businesses to use to make their products more delicious and sustainable. So all of these businesses are doing really great things, but no one business has the authority or the scale or the, scope to command the kind of attention that we need to educate millions of consumers about this concept to really activate the solution. And if we put our megaphones together, then our message is all the more loud for consumers to hear and resonate with. And so they created this organization to do exactly that, to get everyone to point their megaphones in the same direction and start using the same language and talking about upcycling in the same way, so that every time a consumer hears the word upcycled food, upcycling, they know exactly what it means. And what it means is it's a way for consumers to prevent food waste with the products they already buy.
And make more informed choices.
Exactly. Yeah. If you take into consideration, preventing food waste is the single greatest solution to climate change. I don't know if Dan threw that stat out there, but according to Project Drawdown, it's true. More than any other solution, it has the ability to bring more carbon out of the atmosphere. When you take that into consideration, wouldn't you want to be a part of that solution and pay for a little bit of that solution every time you go into a grocery store? I think it's empowering for consumers to recognize the impact that they can have every time they are shopping online or shopping in a grocery store.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more. And so in particular, what was the inspiration for you to be part of this?
For me, right place, right time, Justine. I just kind of wound up here in Crested Butte on top of a mountain. And then next thing you know, we're starting the Upcycled Food Association. It's awesome. But I actually came from the food rescue space.
Oh,
So
okay.
for me, it's really important to understand what kind of impact our food system has on health equity, on food security. And when you look at the fact that so much of our food, 30%, or about $1 trillion worth of food, goes to waste every year. And meanwhile, 1 in 7 Americans is food insecure.
Right.
Totally unnecessary, totally unjust, and exploitive and racist situation that our food system has propagated. And so what we have to do is redesign our food system. And upcycled food gives us an opportunity to do that, because we're tapping into previously untapped value, something that was going to waste before. And with that opportunity comes the responsibility to decide, where is that value going to go? And I think answering that question is a really important one to me, and one that kind of drew me to this industry from previously doing food rescue and other food security work in Denver, my hometown.
Oh, in Denver. Only in Denver? Your impact's only in Denver? I can't imagine that's right.
Well, I was executive director of Denver Food Rescue for a number of years, and I also helped to start a great organization called Fresh Food Connect, which is a nonprofit technology company that is creating a market for homegrown food. So it has this great system that nonprofit food rescue organizations, like the one that I worked for a while, can use to tap into extra food that gardeners have from their own backyards, backyard gardeners.
That being said, even though those roles were both in Denver, Upcycled Food Association is clearly not a local organization and a local association. It's now allowed you really to spread your wings a little bit and have a bit of a broader reach.
Well, for the listeners, I will clarify, Fresh Food Connect is being used by nonprofits all over the country now.
Okay, so your reach is a bit bigger than Denver.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, there's like 20 organizations around the country using it now, so that's pretty cool. And
that's pretty cool.
If there's any food rescuers or hunger relief or food security, anyone in that line of work, Fresh Food Connect is a really cool way to improve your impact. So, but to answer your question more directly, yes, Upcycled Food Association, super global. We have about 140 members now across more than 20 countries. And that just goes to show that this is a totally global movement. I mean, we have a global food system. There's food waste everywhere. And so there's opportunity everywhere to take that otherwise wasted food and upcycle it into something that has higher value. And therefore, it's a really great way to talk about where is all this new value going to go. Let's make sure that more of it goes to the populations that have been historically marginalized by our conventional food system, farm workers and farmers in the global south, namely. Let's use the fact that you can take now, this is a great product from one of our members, Blue Stripes, cool diagram to show. Right now, we only use the seeds from the cacao pod, second most harvested crop in the world, I learned.
So wait, for our listeners, can you, that are not watching the YouTube video, but that are listening, can you tell them verbally what it is you're showing us?
I'm holding up a box of cacao shell flour cookies. And
what's the name of it?
From Blue Stripes. That's the name of the member. I encourage you to check them out.
And what's the website, or how would they check it out?
Check out, that's a great question. At Blue Stripes Cacao or bluestripes.com. Okay. And by the way, for the other two members that I showed earlier, Jolly Fruit Co., AgriCycle, Jolly Fruit Co., jollyfruit.co for them, and then at Regrained on social media.
And this is unpaid advertising, just for our listeners that are watching, just so you know.
This is if you send me snacks for me to eat while I'm at work, then you're going to get and I tell our members that all the time, right?
And I'm going to let your members know, for any members of the Upcycled Food Association, that if you want to send me snacks, I'm happy to eat them on my podcast as well. Exactly. And let everyone know about them.
Totally. And there's probably been a couple people like this. I'm going to be totally honest with you. This box is empty because I ate its contents. So this box and this bag are kind of famous because even though they are empty, because they've been sitting on my desk for a while. So again, UFA members, send me samples. I will enjoy them on my lunch breaks, and then get to give you shout outs here. Okay, back to where we're talking about. I'm holding up the box of Blue Stripes cookies here. There's a diagram of what we eat, what we don't eat. Basically, there's this cacao pod. We eat the seeds, but we don't eat the fruit. So we eat the seeds to make chocolate. We use a ton of them to make chocolate. But then there's this beautiful white, nutritious, super, super sweet. Have you ever tried it, Justine?
I don't think I have.
Well, it's unusual that you would have. You probably would have had to go somewhere in the tropics. Latin
I was
America.
just thinking the Virgin Islands or something.
I don't know if it is grown there, but yes, it's a tropical tree.
But I was thinking maybe I tried it when I was in St. Thomas or St. Martin or one of the Virgin Islands. It seems like something I would have had there.
It's totally delicious.
Where did you get it?
Well, okay, I actually got a gift box from these guys.
Okay, I'm thinking these guys need to send me a gift box because now I want to try their cacao.
It was so fun. And in the gift box is a real cacao fruit that you cut open and it really is. It's like this hard shell that has the
I bought one.
Husk has a bunch of fiber and nutrients in there too. So they use that to make the flour for these cookies. Okay, so the point is that we take the seeds and we use it to make chocolate, but then there's all this other good stuff left. And the farmer has put in the energy to create those parts of the pod too.
Okay, so bottom line, what are they doing with the fruit?
They're throwing it away.
Wait, no, but aren't these people doing something with it?
Yeah, they use it as the sweetener for these cookies, and they make a juice. They have another product that's like a cacao juice product, and they have some flours and baking mixes. They have a bunch of products, and
Where are they out of?
Say again?
Where are they out of?
They're in New York. Oh. And actually, really interesting company. The guys who started this company had previously started a really big and successful chocolate company in Israel. that they sold. And now this is kind of like their second round at starting a food company.
Okay,
And
so
so
are they Blue Stripes? Is that them?
that's Blue Stripes. Yeah, and there's a few of our members that were actually started by previously successful food entrepreneurs, like Candid. Candid, they make a chocolate called Noons, and the guys who started that started Runa Tea, if you remember Runa Tea. Who else? Well, Seth Goldman, who started Beyond Meat,
Okay.
has a company called, everyone knows that one,
Yes.
has a one called Eat the Change, and they make mushroom jerky.
Oh, I want to try that.
It's super delicious. Let's see, who else? There's a few more of people who have started companies before, and then they're realizing, and I think that just goes to show the people who are in this industry know that this is the future.
Right.
Using
And
upcycled
that's what
food.
we're here to talk about, is the future of food, right? That's what we're talking
Exactly.
about. So with that in mind, we've talked about all these brands that you so graciously, literally promoted for them. So I hope that they're all very appreciative, but I am super interested because I love to learn about these new upcycled brands, but I believe you're the founder of a food brand as well. Is that accurate?
Yeah, well, I've started a couple food projects.
Okay, so talk to me about these food projects, and for our listeners, the word projects was in air quotes. I put
Very
that in
big
air
and
quotes.
quote with that. Yes. Okay. They are businesses, but they are not conventional businesses, and they're not operating right now, I should
Okay.
say, so that I can focus on what I think is more impactful, and that's advocating for this whole industry. So,
Essential Ingredients is powered by Next Gen Chef. Next Gen Chef is a movement that supports food and beverage entrepreneurs around the world by fostering a sense of community and providing its members access to mentors and a wealth of resources and guidance. Next Gen Chef feeds members with the knowledge they need to build better for you food and beverage businesses so the world can have greater access to healthier food, comprehensive food education, and increased affordability. If you like what you hear on this podcast, continue the conversation or ask new questions on the Next Gen Chef app, available in the Apple Store and Google Play. Follow Next Gen Chef on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook at Next Gen Chef. Join Next Gen Chef and let's change the future of the food industry together.
Or if you could just share with us the impact that the association has had to date or so far,
oh,
just so we could wrap that up in a little pretty bow for
sure.
everyone. I think it's important to just recognize the impact you've had to date, and share that with our listeners.
Right. So the impact that we've had so far is we've built this big global community of 140 businesses all around the world who are working together to prevent food waste. So that's really great. And if we are successful, Upcycled Food Association, at continuing to grow demand for upcycled products, we're in the next 10 years, we're going to have prevented more than 10 billion pounds of CO2 emissions.
Wow.
So it's a huge number, and it goes to show the scalability and really the impact that this industry can have, is that it's reducing carbon emissions in its very core. Every time you buy an upcycled product, you're preventing a little bit of carbon emissions, and that's really exciting. And that's one of the things that we're working towards, is growing the sales and growing the businesses of upcycled products. And we're doing that by educating consumers, and we're educating consumers with a program that we've been working on for over a year now to certify products and ingredients. And so it's called the Certified Upcycled Program. And what we're doing is certifying ingredients and products so that on this product you would see a logo that would communicate to the consumer, look, this product helps to prevent food waste. This product gives you the opportunity to be a part of the single greatest solution to climate change. And certified products are also going to be wrapped up into some other work that we're doing to increase their sales by partnering with retailers and just getting these products in front of more consumers all around the world. So that certification process was a doozy and a half. We've been working on it for about a year and a half now, and we're finally ready to launch it. So
Congratulations, that's a big deal.
This April 2020, we're going to be launching
No, we're not in 2020 anymore, Turner.
Oh no, 2021.
No, we're in 2021, thank God.
I'm the guy who's still saying Happy New Year. So this program, you're going to start seeing certified upcycled products on shelves by this summer, which is really, really exciting, because then, you know, millions of consumers all over the world are going to start seeing this logo, and it's kind of like, okay, what's that? And you start to see the common thread between all these hundreds of products that are already out there, and you start to think, boy, I could fill my whole cart with products that prevent food waste, right?
You know, it'd be really cool if you could create a virtual shopping cart. And in that shopping cart, you could put all these items, right? Like as if you're going into Good Eggs, or you're at Instacart and you're going into Whole Foods, and you have this little virtual shopping cart, and each item that you put in that's upcycled, it tallies up the impact that you're having. So, and every time you put something else in that's not upcycled, it shows you the impact you're having on the other side, so that you could show on both sides the impact that you're having on the planet.
That's such a great idea. It's so good that we've had that idea.
So it's not a new idea?
No, it's not a new idea.
You're just saying you had it so that when you use it, you don't have to give me credit.
Oh yeah, let me just scribble some notes down over here. Right.
Mm-hmm. Likely story.
On shopping cart. Patent pending. So that's exactly what we want to do. We want to give people a really clear idea of exactly the impact that they're having when they buy upcycled products. And what's great about the certification is that it ensures that any certified product prevents a certain amount of food waste. And so we get to make claims that no other like category or sustainability claim has been able to make in the past. Like for every organic apple you buy, what happens? Like we know, I think most people kind of know that buying organic is better for the planet, but we don't really know why and what's happening as a result of me buying organic stuff. Like, I think it's worth this extra 15% that I'm spending on it.
And sometimes, you know, it's not even that expensive.
Right. And so it's kind of like,
price.
why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And the way that Upcycled is different is it says, okay, for every product, upcycled product you buy, there's a discrete, very concrete, very tactile, easy to understand outcome that you're creating. A pound of food waste, or that's not necessarily the number for every product, but it's as easy to understand as if for every product you buy, a pound of food waste is prevented, and therefore a commensurate amount of CO2 emissions are prevented as well. So that's
like my shopping cart illustration. It's like my shopping cart illustration.
Exactly. It sounds kind of like your shopping cart. Okay, Justine, we're going to give you credit.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
The tool. And so, by the way, that's going to live on our website.
And so it's going to give me credit on the website?
We're gonna, you know what? We'll just put it on your website.
Are you going to write "Powered by Next Gen Chef" on your website?
You know, to do that, you'd have to become a member of the association, I'm afraid.
I'd be happy to become a member of the association. I'm just not sure that we're only upcycling all the time. We support upcycling. We want to empower our members to make more informed choices. And we put together a host of talks like this and conversations so that people can make more informed choices and get educated. So by extension, I think we should become a part of the party.
I think you should too. And by the way, you don't have to be exclusively an upcycled company to be a member. In fact, if you look at our membership, it's growing a lot in bigger food companies like Dole,
Wow. So maybe we should let our listeners know, if any of our listeners are interested in membership, how might they get information about it?
Oh, you can go to our website, upcycledfood.org, and sign up to become a member right there.
Okay, so I do know that I want to be mindful of the time, because I do know that you have a bit of a hard stop. But for our founders out there, I always think it's a great inspiration to share other founder stories, whether they are projects or they are seasoned industry leaders. And I'd love for you to just share a little bit about your air quote projects, again, if you don't mind, where you are today, what you hope to achieve, and maybe just a couple learnings, because I know you just don't have a huge amount of time left.
Sure. So the upcycled businesses that I helped start were both social enterprises to help raise money for food rescue organizations. So going back to my whole spiel on how can the upcycled industry help to improve food security? Well, here's an example of how. Every food rescue organization out there has extra bread or bagels or donuts or sweets, pastries. Everyone has extra pastries, right? Because you get all the pastries from the bakery down at the corner at the end of the day. And because we all love to see a huge pastry rack that's totally full. But what happens to all of those ones at the end of the day? Well, they get donated, probably. Hopefully they get donated. Otherwise, they're going into the trash or compost. And that was true for Denver Food Rescue. And I started seeing that, boy, there's all this bread that doesn't go to waste. What if we could figure out a way to earn money for the organization by commercializing it somehow? Like, could we sell it as animal feed? Could we burn it and make electricity? Could we do anything with it? And it turns out you can do something. There's a lot of starch and sugar in bread, same kind of starch and sugar that is used to brew beer. And the otherwise wasted bread to beer model has happened all over the world. One of our members, Crust, which is a great company, Crust Brewing, they're a great company in Singapore. They have a whole company based on taking bread that would have otherwise gone to waste and brewing it into beer. And so we said, let's do that. It would be a great way to earn money for the organization and do something with all this bread we don't know what to do with. And so we started brewing some beer along with another organization, Metro Carrying, and we had a great brewery partner called the Post Brewery in Denver. Great fried chicken if you are into that in the Denver area. And we brought the rescued bread, they brewed it into beer, we sold it to restaurants in the area, and then consumers bought the beer, and it made a bunch of money to support the brewery and the nonprofits. And so it's just this really amazing circular economy that supports those who have been marginalized, and it supports the organizations that are doing the work to increase their capacity, and it prevents food waste, and it helps for-profit businesses in the area.
It sounds like a win-win-win for everyone.
The win-win-win-win.
I love that.
Here, I think you can still get it sometimes in Denver. It was called Penny Loafer.
Oh, I used to wear penny loafers.
For every beer, they would donate $1. So it was like penny loaf of bread, penny loafer.
Oh, I like that. That's very clever.
So I don't know. I guess one of the messages that I have is for everyone to start thinking about yes, you're putting it in the compost. Like, we all have a compost bin. Hopefully no one is throwing their food directly into the landfill anymore. And that's great. It's a good first step. And what I want to encourage people to do is think about, is there an even higher value? Like, if creating soil, nutritious soil, is a better use than putting it in a landfill and creating carbon emissions,
right,
then is there something above soil? And the answer is yes. You can take your banana peels and soak them in water, and it turns into a great plant food for the house plant that's right behind you, Justine.
Really? That's amazing. I love that.
You can take your veggie scraps and
Wait,
boil
hold
them
on.
in
Let's
water,
wait, before we're
make
done, let's
stock
go
or
back to
broth.
the banana peel. We got to go back to the banana peel. What do I do with the banana peel?
You literally let it sit in water for like a couple hours, and then the water sucks out all the phosphorus and other nutrients from the banana peel, and you have this amazing fertilizer for your
And
houseplants.
then what do I do with the banana peel?
Well, then you put it in the compost.
Oh, okay, fine.
But the thing
Okay, now
is
let's
that
go on to the vegetables. I'm interested in the vegetables.
it's all about constantly elevating. How can we get even more out of this? We already produced this, so let's get every last
I love
molecule
that.
of
So I want to know what to do with the vegetables. I'm at the edge of my seat. What do I do with
you
the
put them in water and you boil it, and then you get stock.
Oh, stop. I've done that. Okay, I got that one. Okay,
Easy.
that one's
And
good.
so there's value that is kind of hidden in plain sight all around your kitchen.
I love this.
And don't let it slip through the cracks, because it's good stuff and you can save a lot of money and it really helps the environment.
So I just want to tap into one thing before we wrap up, and that's really talking to our founders, from founder to founder. What are some of the key challenges in building an upcycled food business, so that, for those founders that are listening, maybe it can resonate with them, and maybe you can give them a couple workarounds or recommendations.
Well, starting a food business is really hard.
Yes.
Everyone knows that. And starting an upcycled food business, it has kind of an extra level of complexity, because in addition to doing the same stuff, the same product development and marketing and sales and everything that everyone else has to do, you kind of have to do this consumer education. You have to educate some consumer who might not really care, busy. They're just trying to get something that tastes good and that saves money. And you have to convince them, like, hey, pay attention to this word upcycled and do something good for the planet. And so the first three drivers of food purchases are always taste, cost, and nutrition. Right. I think in that order. Maybe it's cost, then taste, then nutrition. It's probably taste.
Taste has got to be up there. I mean, if it doesn't taste good, forget about it.
It has to taste good. But luckily, it can taste great. And so first, make the product taste great. And then the reason this whole community of upcyclers within the Upcycle Food Association is here is to work together so that we can all do our part and do a little bit of the consumer education, so that it's not all on the shoulders of independent entrepreneurs that are just getting started. Right. There's kind of some momentum that's been built, and consumers' awareness is generally a little bit elevated. So rule number one, make it taste great. Rule number two, get on board and let's educate consumers about the impact that they can have by buying upcycled.
Great. And if anybody wanted to get in touch with you, what would be the best way to connect?
Upcycledfood.org.
Okay.
You can sign up for our newsletter list. We have a great newsletter that is all the latest in the industry. And we also have a really active LinkedIn. If you're a person in the biz and want to follow us on LinkedIn, we're also on Instagram at Upcycled Food. And look out for upcycled products on shelves at your local grocery store starting in the next few months.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Turner. And I want to thank our listeners for joining in today. And if you like this podcast and you like this episode, you can find this and other ones on Essential Ingredients, which is on every station from iTunes to Spotify to you just name it. We are here every week. Every Tuesday, we drop a new episode. Please do download the Next Gen Chef app. We invite you to join our complimentary app and community to connect with other like-minded food and beverage entrepreneurs. And I hope to see you again soon. So thank you again, Turner, for joining me.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Hope to see you again soon. And thank you to our listeners for joining us. To find out more about this episode of Essential Ingredients and access show notes, check out Next Gen Chef and choose podcast in the menu bar. If you like this episode, head to iTunes or Next Gen Chef's YouTube channel to subscribe. Learn more about Next Gen Chef, the platform that powers this podcast, by checking out our website, or visit us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Next Gen Chef. You can also check out my Instagram at Justine_Reichman. If you have thoughts about this episode or future episode ideas, leave us a comment at Next Gen Chef's YouTube channel or drop an email at team@nextgenchef.com. Thanks for joining us.